Welcome back again. This is Fox, the next installment in our Let's Play Max Tourist Run. Today we're going to be going over our first tourist-only island. As you can see, I have done a tourist-only island. Now this is quite complex how I've set this out. It's very modular. We're going to be touching on it, talk to you why I've chose to set it out this way, and yeah, my decisions in doing so. So I suppose the first thing we should touch on is their needs. Now, what do you need to get a max population? The max population of residents you can get in a hotel is 660. Now, you achieve this by giving them all of their needs, which is a tourist mooring, variety theatre, jam, shampoo, iron tower, bread, a restaurant, cafe, and a bar. Now, these need to have recipes functioning for them to count as for the green light to work. You can't just plop them down and not have the recipes doing nothing. If you could, it would make my life a whole lot easier. You then need at least 2 needs from this column, so I chose to give them fur coats and jewellery. The main reason being the amount of lemonade and souvenirs that I need was absolutely bonkers. These buildings are massive. They're the chemical plants, the same as the shampoo buildings, which are these ones. They need to be clipped really to get the most out of them. The number of clipping points on Crown Falls pretty much is taken up all by the shampoo, so there's not enough room for me to do lemonade or souvenirs. That meant I've got to make an awful lot of fur coats and an awful lot of jewellery. It's in the thousands. It's 2,000 and something fur coats, 2,000 and something jewels. It's ridiculous. You then need to satisfy 3 of these needs, these hotspot needs on the right hand side, these happiness needs. 3 of these need to be full. The easiest way to do this is have a docklands. This is based on the attractiveness of the docklands. To do that, you need to increase the number of items that you've got, or the number of attachments, if you like. Me personally, I use all of the depots, all of the loading wharfs, and all of the export offices. I think that's it. Not too sure whether there's... have I got some piers here as well? No. You do need to connect this to with a road for it to work properly. Yeah, and there needs to be bus stops near everything. So I chose that one. The other 2 that I chose, the museum, this is just because I've got a museum on here with Gods of Delta to reduce the amount of influence that the town halls and the trade unions are using. The other ones I've chose to give are World's Fair and Skyline Tower. As I say, we have to give them the Iron Tower. The World's Fair, as long as it's got electricity, same as the Skyline Tower, as long as it's got electricity, they are good. They count as the hotspot, and then you can get the population to maximum. There is one item that increases the population as well. It's this one, Mr. Bertram, Hotel Manager. He decreases the chance of fire by 10%, decreases the chance of illness by 10%. Gives 20 bonus residents. Residents gain bonus residents from tourist mooring, bread, variety theatre, restaurant, jam, cafe, shampoo, and bar. We're giving them all of them. So you get an insane amount of residents from this chap. I mean, look, if we remove him, the amount of residents goes to 500. Put him back in. 660. 160 residents from one fella. That's because we're getting 20 residents for each one of those goods listed. So we're getting tourist mooring, bread, variety theatre, restaurant, jam, cafe, shampoo, and bar. That's 8. 20 times 8 is 160. Massive boost from one chap. The other 2, these are the only other 2 items you can have in the town. Or concierge, he just increases happiness. Decreases the chance of fire and illness. This woman increases the happiness again. She's quite important. She reduces the needs by 20%. Less jam, lemonade, and bread. I mean, the lemonade we're not making, but 20% less jam and bread. It's massive. The amount of jam we need is ridiculous. So, once you've realised that you need to give them all of these, once you've realised that you really need all of them inside the range of a town hall for it to work, especially, I spent ages. If we pick one that's in the middle, this is what every cluster looks like. Everyone is identical. It's a fully modular layout. You can see the grid as well is fully modular. The pattern just repeats left to right. So what have I done? We've got the town hall in the middle. We've got the bar, the restaurant, and the cafe. We've got a fire station this was mainly because I had space here. I may delete these. I'm pretty sure there is no chance of fire. So I could delete this and then put some investor houses in the gaps, but for now it's going to stay. I've got a trade union. That's because this fella, the entremetier, it's French, I'm guessing, affects all restaurants, non-monument. Workforce needed plus 50%. Doesn't make any difference because the workforce for these is actual tourists. But he gives jam back at a rate of 1/3. So we're getting 1 jam every cycle because we've got 3 of these in here. We're getting 1 jam back every cycle. It's really cool. Yeah, so the main thing I wanted to do was create this. I wanted a nice compact little grid around the town hall that I could copy and paste around every town hall. And then it was simply a matter of filling in the space as best I could with the hotels, making sure that all of them are in range of a town hall, making sure they're all, well, if they're inside the town hall range, they're definitely in range of this bar, cafe and restaurant. So the main thing was make sure they're all inside a town hall, which they are, you can see. These 2 aren't. Click on the next one. These 2 are. This one isn't. Click on it. It's in. This was probably the most efficient layout. Definitely the most efficient layout I could find. There's a little bit of wasted space. You can see there's a tiny little bit here in the cluster. There's this Z-shaped section in the middle here. But this was needed for me to get these inside the town halls. If I spun them the other way, it meant that the grid was different and it just didn't work out so well. So, yeah. Should take a... if you want to zoom in on this, if you want a really efficient town hall layout, this is it. Leave 1 space gap, 1 tile space between the town halls when you're laying it out. Continue, copy and paste upwards. This is a super modular layout, really easy to transfer this to other islands. The variety theatre, I definitely do not need this many variety theatres for it to cover the whole island. The bars, restaurants and cafe, you really need 1 per town hall because surprisingly it doesn't stretch that far. This radius, this is the radius of effect, I believe, in regards to the reductions that you would have if you were using investors and stuff. So this would reduce schnapps, rum and champagne, where you can see that the investors inside it are being lit up. So if these were using rum, champagne or schnapps, they would be getting the reduction from this. This green line is how far they'll travel to pick the goods up. For them to be in range of the hotels, for some reason, I needed 1 per cluster. It's not the end of the world. All of the goods for these are being made not in the old world, so it doesn't make any difference whatsoever how many of these we have, as long as we can supply the goods for them. So the recipes I've gone for on this island are the Embessa Sunrise. This is using hibiscus, spice from Embessa, rum. I'm making a little bit in the New World. I've still got to finish that off. This one is for the cafe. This is banana surprise. Obviously the bananas and the cinnamon being made in the New World. The goat's milk again coming from Embessa. They're both 3 regions for me. This whole save is based on getting as many tourists as I can. I'm not bothered about any other regions. So anytime we can make goods in other regions, it's really, really good. We've then got the restaurant. This is using fish, potatoes and citrus. The citrus is going to be made as byproducts by all of our jam orchards. The potatoes are coming from the New World, and the fish is simply being made on every island with a tiny little cluster like this of fish being well, 0 workforce boosted. This is making me more fish than I need. It's making me 4 tons of fish than I need. So every island is only going to have 4 fisheries on it, every large island. This is then making me a little bit of gold and a little bit of tallow as well, which ultimately we need for other things. The gold we need for jewellery, excuse me, the tallow we need for shampoo. Now, we need 1 power plant per island, simply to power the World's Fair, Skyline Tower. I don't think the Iron Tower needs it, to be fair. So yeah, we literally just need to power the World's Fair and the Skyline Tower for them to affect the happiness tab. So yeah, 1 power plant. So every island will have an oil harbour. I was lucky enough on this island that it had 3 oil fields, so I am sneaking a little bit of oil here. But where possible, if there is a mine available that is out of the range of a trade union that's being used to generate jam from our bar, restaurant and cafe, then I can nick it, like this one here. Managed to put a York van Malchin on this, a Beckedin and a first rate sapper. That means the mine's at 0 workforce again. This is generating me a little bit of oil, and it's also generating me a little bit of gold that's going to be going towards the jewels. So yeah, as for the layout, it's pretty damn easy. I mean, don't get it twisted. This took me a long while to work this out, and I'm really happy with it. You can see the number of bus stops. A lot. You do need quite a few bus stops. The range of the bus stops needs to be within a certain distance of each other for them to all interconnect, and then it reach to the parts of the island where it needs to get the stuff from. So for this hotel up here to be affected by the World's Fair, it needs bus stops to be connected within a certain range of each other in a sequence, and a road available that snakes all the way up to get to it. If that makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. If you have good road connection that runs all the way through. Again, going back to what I said, I needed to separate this. I needed a road that could bridge all the way up and create an intersection between the patterns at a decent enough interval that all of the hotels and stuff could be affected by the World's Fair, the Skyline Tower, and the Iron Tower. The Iron Tower needs a recipe. For now, this is using rum, bread, grapes, and sugar. I'm making a shit ton of grapes for free from my banana plantations. The rum's being made for free at the minute from Plantain Kitchens. Same as the sugar. Bread is being made anyway. This is only used 1 ton a minute of bread. So this is the recipe we're going to be doing. Trifle Tower. So yeah, this is how it's all going to be. We're going to have one power plant. Everything that needs electricity in the radius of that power plant. So we're going to cram everything by the coast to the best ability that we can. So the World's Fair, Skyline Tower, Iron Tower. Anything that's going to affect the grid of these if it was plopped in the middle. I mean, if I popped an Iron Tower, if I popped a World's Fair in the middle here, I mean, actually, it's not too bad. It would take up one cluster of hotels there, but for me it made more sense to keep them all out of the way. So this is the way we're going to do things moving forward. The coastline making the fish is going to have the World's Fair, Skyline Tower, Iron Tower. It's also going to have the museum, which has got the, as I said before, Gods of Delta, just decreasing the amount of influence that the town halls and trade unions need, because this is the only thing we need. Well, obviously you need influence for ships and stuff like that, but the main drain when you're doing a save like this is the amount of influence you need for town halls and trade unions. Apart from that, there's not much else to see. As long as you keep all the goods coming in, as long as the bars, restaurant and cafe have got the goods that they need to keep running, then you will have 660 tourists per hotel. And you may be wondering why I've got investor houses crammed in amongst everything, using all the blank space. It's for that reason that I spoke about earlier, the amount of influence that we need. So this island, let's have a look. We've got 21 town halls, 21 trade unions. That's 42. And they need 10 influence each. So we need 420 influence to run this island. Now each investor house gives 3 influence. Now all you need to do to get this influence is have the house on the island and it not destroy. So you literally only need to give them 1 good. Now I'm choosing to give them coffee. Main reason being I can make this in the New World very, very easily, and they need such a small amount, it's ridiculous. This whole island needs only 6 tons of coffee. Now on the grand scheme of things, I've got this tiny bit of coffee production here. This is making me 45 tons, so this will nearly do 9 large islands worth of coffee. So it's a no-brainer. We're making it in the New World, so we're not using up any space in the Old World. They're getting their coffee. The houses don't delete. We're getting the influence that we need to pay for our ships, to pay for our trade unions, to pay for our town halls. So every island is going to look like this. As many hotels as possible. The gaps around the edge are going to be filled in with investors. So we needed 420 influence anyway to run this. And population, we've got 189 times 3. It's 567. So we're making more, we're generating more influence on this island than what we need to run it. In regards to the ships, I'll have to do some calculations on that. I would imagine it's close. Got quite a few ships bringing the stuff in and out of this. Got an airship just getting rid of the iron so that the mine runs. I've got 3 ships bringing in the fur coats from Crown Falls. I've got a ship bringing in the potatoes, which was a need for one of the bars. I've got 1 ship bringing in the bread, although I don't think this is going to be enough because we need 47 tons of bread a minute. Let's check on this while we're here. And it's taking, what, 10 minutes? 47 times 10 is 470. So we will need to add another ship to that route to keep up with the bread. 1 ship can transfer 400 tons a minute, obviously. If it's taking 10 minutes to do a cycle, we need 47. That's 470 tons we need. So we'll have another ship to that. Jam. This is coming from its own dedicated mini island. This is the way it's going to work. This island making the jam and the citrus just coming to this island. This needs 93 tons of jam and we're making 15, so we do have a slight surplus. This island will be making a lot more jam when I add these in. Well, a lot more. Be making another 9 tons a minute, I would imagine. Some of the other smaller islands you can make a lot more. You can make 150, 160 tons of jam, so it'll almost do 2 medium islands maybe. Yeah, 112 tons of jam, so 20 tons of jam surplus here. I'll send that to Grand Falls and use it for some of the islands in the Cape. For now, there's not much else to talk about. You can see the 3 items we talked about. Bertram, Madame Blanc to reduce the needs, and this chap just for happiness. Needs reduction from the newspaper, obviously, to reduce how much they need. The Iron Tower. Skyline Tower, same deal as the investors. This is being affected by electricity, so we've got 800 or so in here. Only being given coffee. The World's Fair, unfortunately, does not get enough people in it for us to do any of the expeditions, which is a bit one downfall. But I don't want to be producing any goods that the investors need if I don't have to, because it's just waste. So the whole aim of this playthrough was to see how many tourists we could get and nothing else. Yeah, there you have it. This is called 1, as it was the first one. Looks cool. Looks super cool at night. Investor-only islands. Let's fill the whole Cape and Old World with islands like this, shall we? Why not? If you're wondering, there is 181,417 on this island. Bearing in mind, I've got 8 large islands in the Old World. 181,000, let's say. Times 8. I can get 1.5 million just from the large islands, and probably 60. Let's say 65 times 5. Another third of a million. So we're nearly at 2 million from the Old World. We should then hopefully get another nearly 2 million from over here. Maybe a little bit less. If I can get to 3.5 million tourists, I think it'll be really cool and interesting. But yeah, for now, that's going to be it. In the next episode, we'll talk about the recipes of the bar, restaurant, and stuff. So we'll probably talk over the Mbesen Sunrise, and I'll show you my production. This is hibiscus. This is spice. This is milk for the banana surprise. Yeah, we'll talk about the... maybe talk about all 3 of them, so I can show you where the production's coming from each one of these to keep the bar and that satisfied. But yeah, for now, as always, please give this a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Come to the Discord. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.